Like, just calm down, folks. Just calm down. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. Podcast that I'm doing with my son Carson, who's to the right of me here, the handsome part of the Best Boys. We've been doing this our third season now. The first season was kind of like we started midway through the season, but we love doing this. We come out every week and we talk about the week that was for our teams. Carson's team, the 5-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins. My team, the 5-time Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers. And we also talk about what's going on in the NHL. Lots to talk about in the first couple of weeks of the NHL season. Exciting news. We are now, for the first time ever, live on our YouTube channel. We got enough subscribers. Thank you very much. We'd like to get more subscribers, but we're live on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Carson's Twitch page too, which is just great. We really appreciate being on the Refocus Radio Network with Shemaya Reed. And also don't forget you can catch Rudy Campos Jr. and Sweep the League on that channel, as well as all of our podcasts on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast YouTube channel. I'm coming to you live from just outside of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, in Moore, Oklahoma. My fiance Beth and I are doing a little dog sitting while we're out here in Oklahoma. Got to go to a hockey game, Carson, a North American Hockey League game. It's kind of like a Tier 2 junior. Okay. So the guys that are playing in this league are trying to get to the NCAA level. Basically, there was probably more than 250 minutes in penalties. So you can tell what kind of a league it was. It was Amarillo against the hometown Oklahoma, and Oklahoma won 7-1, but we had a good time. I did a little fishing as well, Carson, on Sunday at a beautiful.
I'm surprised the fish didn't pull you in the water.
No, they almost did.
Huh.
It was Lake Thunderbird State Park over here near Oklahoma City. So we're here live. Carson's in San Antonio, and we're going to start talking a little bit about the week that was for the Penguins and the Oilers. Do you want to start this one? Or do you want me?
I think I went first last time, so we'll defer.
And for people that don't know, I have to cheat off of a sheet. Well, now, thanks to StreamYard, I have
I'm gonna get rid of those things.
I've got StreamYard has got a teleprompter for me, so I can look like I'm actually knowing what I'm doing. I'm just going to bring it up on Facebook so that we can see. We invite people to come on our Facebook channel and comment while we're going through.
Now we've got the comments showing on here too. So whenever people comment, we can see it. I see Beth's comment right now.
You can see it? Okay.
Yeah, I have it set where you can see it. At least I can.
So we can see your comments. And Jamie Schaefer is watching along with us.
Here we go again. We're gonna be on my best behavior today.
We're gonna have to probably bring on some Washington Capitol stuff.
That's all right. I won't be mean this time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get going with the week that was for the Edmonton Oilers.
The Oilers can.
Yeah. 3-1 after a shutout win at Madison Square Garden last Tuesday against the New York Islanders. Now, hang on. I'm ahead of myself here. So it's got
You already screwed yourself up with this prompter.
Yeah, I already did. I got too ahead of myself. Here, let's start. Okay, shall we start going take two? Got to get used to all this new technology here.
New technology. This has been around for forever.
Yeah, but for me, it's new. All right, here we go. Now I'm ready to go. Okay, the Oilers are 3-1 right now after a shutout win at Madison Square Garden last Tuesday. The Oilers dropped a 4-2 decision to the Islanders on Long Island. Oilers are up 2-1 and then gave up 3 unanswered goals. Started a pattern of falling apart late in games Next, they lost a Saturday matinee game in New Jersey to the Devils 5-3. The next day in Detroit, they lost again in Detroit, but they wound up on the road trip, ending it in Ottawa. It looked good. It looked good for a couple of periods. The Oilers were actually up 2-0, but then, of course, as the Oilers have been doing, they give up goals, and we go into overtime. Good news: Connor McDavid got his first goal of the season, and rookie Isaac Howard got his first NHL goal to tie the game, or actually they gave him the 2-0 lead. And then in overtime, the unlikely hero on the power play, you would think, okay, on the power play, it's going to be Draisaitl, there's going to be McDavid, or it's going to be, Nugent Hopkins.
How about Jake Wallman? Yeah.
Jake Wallman, they went a minute 55 with the first team power play 4-on-3. And then they, for the last 5 seconds, they put out the second team, and Jake Wallman.
What a weird goal, though, because it didn't pick the corner. It literally went over Allmark's head. It went over his head like he was ducking. It went right over his head and went.
Yeah. But they salvage a 2-3 road trip with that overtime winner with 5 seconds to go on the power play. Lack of scoring punch is still a concern for the Oilers, and of course, steady goaltending. The last 3 years, the Oilers have struggled with their first 6 games, and after a promising start, have fallen off the table a bit this season. They started 2-3-1 this season. Last season was 2-4-0, and then the season before that was the bad one, 1-4-1. So is it time to panic? I don't think so, because look at what happened the last couple of years after slow starts.
Question for you, sir. Mm-hmm. 2 words. Evan Bouchard.
I'm coming up to him right now. I'm coming up to him. He's the first on my list.
Not Stu?
Skinner. Oh. Not Stu. It's all right. So get this. Here's his stats through 7 games. Okay. Evan Bouchard, who scored. He was one of the top scoring defensemen in the league the last couple of years. The Bush bomb and everything. In 7 games, he's got 1 point. He got an assist in the game against Ottawa. 1 point, at least 11 giveaways, and he's a -5. Now, for a defenseman to be a -5, well, okay, defensemen are going to be on the ice more for stuff, but he's a -5. But I really think, Carson, it's time for the Oilers to start shopping him around.
They just re-signed him, so.
Well, I know they just re-signed him, but he's just like you look at the Ottawa game. He wasn't as bad, but he still was making fumbles and stuff.
The Islander game was brutal. Yeah, he just
the first 3 goals bad. He was responsible for. But I still think I don't know, down the road somewhere, Evan Bouchard is not going to be an Oiler for life. Let's put it that way. Now I'm hoping that he'll turn it around and he'll make me eat my words. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But
he's listening to what you're saying. He's waiting for you to say stuff.
Yeah, I know they wait for us for our podcast to hear what we have to say. All right, now I sound like a broken record, but the Oilers need a change in net. Stu Skinner isn't a number 1 goaltender. Calvin Pickard is a good backup, but they need a fresh new goalie to boost the team. You just got to find one out there. Now they picked up from Utah,
Connor Ingram.
Yeah, Connor Ingram. So I'm thinking, okay, he's down in the AHL. He's down with Bakersfield right now. I don't know if it's if it's a conditioning thing, or if it's just they're
probably trying to get him games.
Yeah,
he's probably because he's not really playing. He won't play now.
Getting some games, but I think you got to do something, a fresh look. Bring him up, see what he can do. Then you got to put. Who do you put down? Do you put down Calvin Pickard? Do you put down Stu Skinner? I think.
Might have to do what Seattle's doing. They're doing a 3 goalie rotation right now.
Yeah, they could do that. But something has to. We've been talking about goaltending with the Oilers for 2-3 years now. It's just
that's the reason they didn't win the last 2 years.
Yeah, because
that's the reason they didn't win.
Like, okay, you know what? Stu Skinner did great in the conference finals against Dallas the last couple of years, but then gets into the Stanley Cup final, and he just kind of gets shaky and falls apart. You need a solid goaltender. You need that solid number one guy. You've been kind of dealing with that the last couple of years with Pittsburgh, is not having that solid number one guy. And who's a one? Jari looks good this time, and then Seeloff's looked good the other night.
But we know that you know how it goes.
So goaltending definitely still they got to take a look at somebody. I don't know if they
there's not much out there. There's really not much out there unless you make a trade. There's not much.
Yeah, so we'll see. But that's just a broken record. Scoring now, two players are yet to register a point, but the team needs to turn up the offense as they are only scoring just under 3 goals a game. This is an Edmonton Oilers team that can put 5-6 goals in the net, but they're only scoring less than 3 goals a game. That is not gonna you're gonna not do very well if you only score 3 goals a game. They have to pick it up. As far as goals against is concerned, they're kind of middle of the pack, but goals for, they're at the bottom, and they definitely need to improve on that. And by getting just keep pounding the net, keep forechecking, keeping the ozone pressure on. It'll come around. We're talking first 7 games. I always said, let's see what happens after the first 15. We're about almost halfway there. So we'll see what goes for the Oilers. All right, next they got the very red-hot Montreal Canadiens at home at Rogers Place at 8 o'clock. And then they go back on the road for a couple of games. They're in Seattle Saturday at 9, and then in Vancouver, who's starting to come on a little bit, at 9 on Sunday. And then they'll be at home for the first time against the Utah Mammoth on Tuesday. And so that's kind of like the week that was, the week that is coming up for the Edmonton Oilers. And now it is time to switch to the East Coast and talk about what's going on with the Pittsburgh Penguins. To say the least, a good week for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Opposite of you, I really don't have anything bad to say. Really, after the first 7 games, very small sample size, of course, but last time we had spoken up, they had just finished up their 4th game. They were 2-2. They'd blown that game in Anaheim. The delay game penalty, not a good look, of course. But this week, since we last came on the show, they went 3-0 this week. They won every game, which how many times since we've started doing this almost 3 seasons ago have I been able to say they didn't lose a game in a week? Not very much. This is probably only like the 3rd time I've said it, but they won every game this week. They went 3-0. They were finishing out the California trip the last time we were here, so they just started it. But then they had to play against LA on Thursday in San Jose on Saturday, and then they came back home last night on Tuesday to play against Vancouver. So three different games. LA Kings have been more of the road warriors the last couple of years, but they're a very good team. They were down. Obviously, Corey Perry was out. Kopitar was out that game, dealing with the injury, sidelining him for a week or 2. But they went into that game in LA and started flat. They looked bad the first 5-10 minutes, got scored on twice, and it's like, okay, it didn't look very pretty. But the theme to the season up to this point is they play the whole 60 minutes. They don't quit playing, which has been very nice. And they didn't quit playing. They got 2 greasy goals in the second, 2 goals that really, in all reality, shouldn't happen in the NHL, but they happened. They tied the game up. Dewar got the tying goal in the second period off a weird play. Like he got the puck like right in front of the net, and just it shouldn't. The goalie's pad literally was just right off the ice. Shouldn't have been off the ice like that. Not that close to the net, but he just slid it right under his pads. And they tied the game, and they go to the 3rd, and they were suffocating the Kings on the power play. Kings could not get anything going on the power play. On the penalty kill, the Penguins get a 2-on-2 rush up the ice, and Raquel was up, took a nice shot, and hit the crossbar actually, and it bounced out and there was a scramble for the puck, and then he got it back, shot it on net, missed, but then Phil Hollander was behind the net and scooped the puck and scored for his first NHL goal. So imagine that, your first goal, a shorthanded goal at a critical time of the game, and later on they get an empty netter, take that game 4-2. So a game that they really at the beginning didn't look like they were in at all, they were before you even realized it. They scored two quick ones in the second within a minute of each other, and that brought them back to life. And they didn't quit. They outplayed the Kings in the third period and the biggest period of the game. Then they go to San Jose, very low scoring affair there, but they get a shutout, 3-0 victory in San Jose. No scoring for the first little bit of the game. It was kind of back and forth. Pitt had their momentum going for the first period, then San Jose got it back for a little bit of the second. But then Sid scored that nasty deflection goal, like he has so many times. Point shot from Letang, deflects it, beats his former netminder Nedeljkovic in that game to take the lead. And with that goal, that's the 160th different goalie he's scored against in the league, which is pretty cool.
160?
Yeah, 160. And so they take the lead 1-0. Then they go to the third, and probably my favorite line on the team right now. They call him the big line, but it's Brazeau, Malkin, and Mantha got on the board. Mantha got his second goal with the team off a nice drag play. Really, it was a 2-on-1 breakdown near the net, and Gino just delayed the puck and was able to sauce it over to Mantha, and he beat Ned right over the glove, top corner. And then again, another empty netter. Gino got that one. Took the game 3-0. So second shutout of the season already. One for each goalie. Shelovs has one. Now Jari got his. And then finally, last night's game in Vancouver. Again, kind of a slow start. Vancouver got a goal a minute in the game. They had the first 6 shots, but then all of a sudden, Pens tie the game. Connor Dewar got another goal off of a tip from a Witherspoon shot. Then they go to the second, and they absolutely just poured on Vancouver. I mean, they after the second, they're up 4-1, 3 quick goals in the matter of 5 minutes. Tommy Novak got his first goal with Pitt since being traded there last year. Then Sid got a goal right off a faceoff, 3-1. And then Anthony Mantha got another goal last night, crashed the crease on a shift where the Penguins were really in the defensive zone for probably a minute and a half plus. They didn't have the chance to change, but they got an opportunity off of a zone clear and they took it. They had a 2-on-1 rush from blue line in, and Gino kind of just skated with it towards the red line, towards the goal line, and just passed it out front of the net. And that's the best thing you can do at that point is create havoc because you got somebody sliding right there. And Mantha literally skates right into the puck, pushes it in, and he falls in the net. That's how quickly he was going in to get that puck, and he fell in the net. So it's funny after that you see him score, and he's sitting in the goal. Literally, he hasn't even gotten up yet. Then they go to the third, and they get another power play goal. Brazeau got that. They take it 5-1, and Shelovs beats his old team that shouldn't have traded him.
Yeah.
I don't
know why they did.
Beat him 5-1. So some noteworthy stuff. Okay, Justin Brazeau's a leading goal scorer on this team, which I wasn't expecting that. He's got 5 goals in 7 games. Meanwhile, before this season, his career high was 10 goals, and he's halfway there, 7 games into the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think his career high in points was something low, like I want to say 18 to 20, and he's already got 8 points. He's that line. He's just looking really good on that line. I hope they really don't change it. The Penguins have so far this season flip flopped every game for goalies. It's gone Shelovs, Jarly, Shelovs, Jari, Shelovs, Jari, Shelovs. Out of the two, Shelovs looks better to me. That's just my opinion. He doesn't look as shaky. He's not getting beaten as much. He had the stinker game against the Rangers a couple weeks ago where Pens couldn't get anything going. But he looks better. He just to me looks more calm. I still feel like Jari's getting beat more but he's getting saved by the posts, really. He still looks like kind of where he's flopping around sometimes in there. He just seems unsteady. But I get the strategy. They got to do it. Get both of them games. But I think Shelovs is your guy. But I think you really at the same time test the waters with this switching strategy until you really can't anymore because it's working out pretty okay. Overall, I texted you this last night. They're just looking really fun. They're a fun team to watch. They're not boring really anymore. The youth is really showing in this team. How many times have we already said first goal, first point in the league this season for this team? That's something I wouldn't say this year or last year, the year before that, and the year before that. But you've gotten probably 4 or 5 different guys who've gotten their first goals or points this season already. And the youth are really getting to shine through. They're playing more free. They're not playing as like just like steadfast. They're going with the game. They might be a bit more irresponsible, but even then, they're covering for each other. When somebody's trapped along the board, you got somebody a few feet away there to support them. There's nobody that's without each other. And I think right now they're just playing as a unit. It's fun to watch. Obviously, a long way to go, but for a small sample size of 7 games, they have exceeded my expectations. And they look like they could be a playoff contending team for like a wild card spot. They truly do. They just have to keep this identity of playing together as a team. Obviously, you're getting good goaltending, better goaltending than you were last year. But I think it's easier for the goaltending to do well when the team is playing good. And the team is playing good every game. They're pouring their hearts out into the game. They're helping each other. They're top 10 in the power play percentage in the league. They're top 15 in PK, which they need to get a bit better, but they're also high up there in goals for and goals against, which is where you need to be. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. Obviously, a long way to go. But this week they have same thing, a 3-game slate before we're back on again next week. They play tomorrow against the reigning Cup champions in Florida. But they've looked kind of not shaky, but definitely not the start for a normal Florida team. But again, they're down some guys. Then Saturday they play it back at home against the Jackets, and then they follow that up on Monday, in a game against St. Louis at home. So 3 very big games. Would be nice if they could get all 3 again, but I'd be happy with 4 points. I mean, those are tough teams. You got Florida, who you don't really need to say much about. They're a good hockey team. Columbus, up and running team that's definitely got firepower, and again St. Louis, who's another sneaky team that's just got
Mhm.
that speed and that energy to them, and they can get that great goaltending out of Bennington any night. So it's going to be a challenging week, but one I'm excited for. But yeah, 5-2. I'm very happy.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully they can keep it rolling. I mean, they look really good right now, and they're hard. They're a tougher team to beat this year than they have been in the previous couple of years. I think, in my opinion, right now.
Well, they're right where you want them to be. Five
Yeah,
and two, 7 games in, you can't beat that. There's a lot of teams that were above them in the standings that are, 2, 3 wins.
yeah.
So the Penguins,
I'm
yeah,
very
definitely,
pleased. I'm very pleased.
definitely. You can by looking, like I don't watch as many games as you do. I watch, I'll try to get as many
Highlights and
games in as
stuff.
I can. But I see a difference in this team. I see an energy in this team, like you said, the young guys.
They're playing the
Even
whole game. Like that's the
the
thing. Like, but how many times last year was I crying out for them to play the whole game, where they
yeah.
would have a lead after 40 and then they would just stop skating and they would blow leads every time. They haven't really done that. They've in games where
Mhm.
they're behind, like okay, the LA game, they were dead in the water. They looked horrible. The first like 10 minutes, they just looked awful, like they weren't there. All of a sudden, they pick it up and they play, and they just kept playing. And in the
Mhm.
opportunity where they could have let it go in the third period when they took the lead, they didn't, and they took it to the Kings. Make the Kings make mistakes. Make the other teams make mistakes where they're taking late penalties,
Mhm.
whatever it is. That's the big thing right now too for them is they haven't been drawing many penalties, so they're able to strategize enough just to work the time, work the clock, and it's nice they've had some games where they can ease off the last 5 6 minutes
Yeah.
because they're up by 4 goals or 3 goals, but they're not. They're playing the entire game, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want.
From Facebook, I'd like to thank Gary for joining us tonight. Chad Stroshine, my old line mate from high school football. Your Auntie Bev is watching again. And, Jamie's come up here. She's now saying "Go Blues"
Yeah, that's fine. I can accept that one over.
over the other team that she likes.
Well, okay, the other team that she likes, it's just a rivalry. That's all it is. It's a rivalry. I mean, one of the best ones there is, and it's coming to its conclusion, unfortunately. But our teams are tied in record. They're both 5-2, but
Yeah,
I think we're above them based upon I think just regulation wins right now. But
yeah,
we play Wash in 2 weeks. I'm ready for that game.
yeah.
Yeah,
That'll be a good game. We should just see you two be going back and forth on that one for sure. That's the
yeah.
first
But I'm gonna
the
be
first time.
but I'm gonna be very sad when the rivalry's kind of dead after Sid and Ovi are
Yeah.
done because that was really a big time rivalry for the last, well, really not as much the last few years, but mainly like from the early the 2000s they got drafted all the way till pretty
Mhm.
much, honestly, pretty much till Washington got their cup. that was just like the main rivalry. I mean, it was always going. They were always competitive. They always
Yeah.
had to play each other in the playoffs. But now it's the end of an era for both these teams. But we'll kind of pivot here to
Okay.
the next portion, which is our standings update. So we haven't done this before. This is our first time doing this
Okay.
kind of segment. But I have the standings updated as of today for all the divisions. I didn't go into wild card formats or anything, just simply divisional. I'll
Hmm.
review these. Then thereafter, maybe we can just talk about them, surprises on the list, maybe things that we weren't expecting or are
Okay.
expecting, or what to. We can kind of carry ourselves from there and see other stuff in the league as well that's been going on the last week. So I think I go from east to west is how I ordered this. Enjoy my lovely slideshow images. Google Images gave me that. But standings updates again as of today, the 22nd of October. I believe we start with the Atlantic Division first, and that is correct. Atlantic Division standings are as follows. Detroit's leading the division 5-1-0. They're on a 5-game win streak. Montreal 5-2-0. Two of those wins came courtesy of Cole Caulfield's OT winners. Florida 4-4-0. They got a huge win last night against Boston. Fluky goal, which we can talk about later. That was one of the weirdest goals I've ever seen to win that game. Toronto hanging around the middle, 3-3-1. They've been on a bit of a slide the last couple games. Boston 3-5-1. After they won their first three games, they've now lost five in a row. Not a good trend.
No.
Ottawa 2-4-1, kind of hanging down low, but they're down Brady Kachuk right now, waiting for him to come back. Buffalo, no surprises, sorry, but they're 2-4-0. They've not had a great start. And one that's very interesting, we'll probably talk about. Tampa Bay is 1-3-2 in
Yeah.
last place in the Atlantic as of tonight. Next up, we got the Metropolitan Division round up the Eastern Conference. New Jersey Devils on a heater, 5-1-0. I believe now they're at a 5-game win streak now. We know a very happy Devils fan named Frank the Tank, who's probably very ecstatic at this point
Yeah.
that they're winning, that they're up there. But they had a big win last night against Toronto. Jack Hughes got a hat trick. Carolina's 5-1-0. They started 5-0 and finally got their first loss of the season the other night. Again, aforementioned Pittsburgh 5-2-0. Washington also 5-2-0. Here they had a rough game against Vancouver the other day. Almost came back. They were down 4-0, but then they turned it around and beat Seattle last night 4-1 at home. Philadelphia Flyers kind of hanging around there 3-2-1 after six. Very respectable start. They've looked pretty good. They've beaten the Panthers already this year. They're definitely a fun, energetic young team, and seeing where they can get carried this year. New York Rangers struggles continue for them at home. They cannot find any goals. They've only scored one goal at home all season long in 4 games. Columbus Blue Jackets 3-3-0. Slower start for them, but I'm not worried about it.
Hmm.
Plenty of time for them to get back in it. And New York Islanders, kind of where I thought they would be, closer to the bottom, but they're 3-3-0 after losing their first 3 games. They've won 3 in a row. Matthew Schaefer, the number one pick, has gotten points in every game this season for
Hmm.
them. He's looked awesome. Let's see. Now we go to the West. Central Division standings update. Colorado Avalanche, first place, 5-0-2. They just came off of an OT loss last night against Utah Mammoth, but they've looked really good. Obviously, points in all of their games is crucial at this point. Winnipeg 5-1-0, solid regular season team. They have done really well this season. Jonathan Taves got his first goal with the Jets also the other day in a huge win against Calgary. Utah, again, big win last night against Avalanche. They're 5-2-0. They've looked solid. That's a very good hockey team and one that I mentioned at the beginning of the season. I'm very excited to see what they do. Chicago's had a surprisingly good start, 3-2 and
Yeah.
2. They've hung in there. Their young stars like Frank Nazar and Connor Bedard have looked great. Spencer Knight's also been unbelievable in that, like 1.8 GAA or something. It's unreal. St. Louis, 3-2-1, kind of just hanging around there, doing what they do. They're a good regular season team, pretty early start. They've had a couple of rough games. They had a rough one against Chicago last week, but they grabbed a point against the Kings last night in a loss. But they've got a more than capable group to get a couple good wins going here. Obviously, seeing what Bennington can do too. Minnesota 3-3-1, kind of a poor start for them, but again, I'm not really worried. They've got plenty of time ironing out the kinks, but you definitely don't want to fall too far in the hole. Same thing for Dallas, 3-3-0, not where I thought they would be at this point, but they have struggled defensively, and Jake Ottinger has kind of struggled a little bit early this season. And finally, rounding out the division, Nashville 2-3-2. I mean, no really difference from last year to this year. They really didn't get any better. It's just not going to work. I don't really think there, but they need to get some wins going before they fall behind. That's a
Hmm.
hard division. And then finally, the Pacific Division. The team I thought that was going to be the hardest to beat this year, Vegas Golden Knights. They have not lost in regulation. They're 5-0-2. Mitch Marner's looked great. Jack Eichel's leading the league in points. Not more to really say there. They are a good team. The Vancouver Canucks 4-3-0. They've had injury troubles this year, but again, coming off of a loss last night in Pittsburgh, they're looking to get back on the column here and keep themselves up. Seattle 3-2-2. They've looked pretty okay too. Younger talent, up and coming group. They've been using that weird, wacky three goalie rotation though, which I'm not sure how that's going to work in the long run, but they are up there right now. Anaheim, which has been one of the more fun teams to watch this year, 3-2-1. They came off a big win in Nashville last night. They've looked unbelievable. Chris Kreider's looked really good there. Their young guys have just exploded. They just look like a good hockey team. They really do. They look like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a while. The Edmonton Oilers, we know they're a slower starting team every season, 3-3-1. Obviously, they need to be up there a bit more, but could be a lot worse than what we've seen the last couple of years from them. Los Angeles Kings, 2-3-2. They've had a rough go to start this season. Can't get much going consistently. They are struggling to win. They're struggling to keep the puck out of the net. Got a big win in St. Louis last night, but they've got a long ways to go here. San Jose, 0-4-2. Very disappointing for them not to have won a game. They're struggling. They've struggled at the beginning of every season for the past few years, struggling to win games, but they're surprisingly not last because the Calgary Flames are 1-6-0. Very disappointed by that. I had Calgary being a wild card team, but they look pretty rough right now, and not a good time to be a Calgary Flames fan.
No.
I don't really think they have much to look forward to either as far as future goes. So they've just got to ride this one out and see what they can do.
Their only win was a shootout opening night against the Oilers.
Yeah. So they're on a 6-game losing streak. That's not where you want to be, but
No.
That's your quick, less than 10-minute standings update. Obviously, some surprises here, some good ones, some bad ones, and some that are pretty. I was pretty much going to think they're going to be right there after a couple weeks.
Mhm.
But with looking at this now, what surprises you right now? I think looking at that list, and if you need me to bring it up again, I can. But what surprises you?
Well, bring up the Central again. Yeah, that Dallas Stars 3-3-0. I know it's the same, almost the same record, just a point behind the Oilers, but being seventh in that conference, in that division, Dallas, and you're saying, the defense and Otters just not right there. That kind of that really surprises me on how much they've fallen off of the table, because this is a team that's been to the conference finals. Is it 3 years in a row?
Yeah. And I believe they're on a 3-game pointless streak, which had only happened with Pete DeBoer, I think, 3 times in the entire tenure of his coaching there. And Glenn Gulleton's already gotten that once. They don't look the same right now. It's kind of rough sledding, but it's a small sample size, but these games add up fast. They really do, and you can't fall behind that quick, especially in a division that has got the likes of Colorado, Winnipeg, even that Utah team that is looking really good. That's a hard division, so we'll see.
Yeah, that Utah was the other team that I was really impressed with.
It was
Chicago.
great.
I like what Chicago's doing. You got the young guys going. You look over in the Metro, and I got to hand it to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is in third place, and they're playing great hockey right now. And you get a team like the Rangers who, like you said, 1 goal in 4 home games, and they've lost every game.
How funny they get shut out the first 3 games, then they finally score in the first minute of the 4th game at home, and then get shut out the rest of the game.
And then so and then you go to the Pacific. Well, there's really Anaheim is probably.
I'm very happy with them.
Yeah, I'm happy with them. LA being 2-3-2. That's kind of that would be a concern. Like we say, the Oilers, okay, well, they're 3-3-1, but this is what they've done the last 2 years, and they've made it to the Stanley Cup final.
LA has lost games that they should not have lost. Like, honestly, the game against us, they shouldn't have lost that game. They had full control, and they just took their foot off the gas. And that's, I feel like, been the common theme for them, is they've just taken their foot off the gas when they shouldn't, and they're losing these games that they really shouldn't be losing.
And then the biggest disappointment for me is the Calgary Flames. 1-6-0, and their 1 win was in a shootout against the Oilers, so they didn't get the full advantage of the full 2 points. They got their 2 points, but that's the last. That it's not fun down in Cowtown right now.
No, even how about Tampa?
Yeah, Tampa Bay, same thing.
That's a bit of a concern. I mean,
I thought they'd be at least middle of the pack in the Atlantic.
they're they're not Vasilevsky is not stopping the puck right
No.
now, and it's not all his fault, but he's not stopping the puck. I mean, they can't keep the puck out of the net. That's a team that people want to play right now because
Yeah.
they've got nothing going. They've literally got
Yeah.
nothing, and that's more pressure that's added on them with every loss because they're expected to be in the playoffs and they're not. You look for me like Tampa's obviously the biggest surprise to me more than Calgary because Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. That's a good hockey team. They've got good
Mhm.
players and they're not playing very good.
Mhm.
I'm impressed with Montreal. They
Yep.
look awesome.
Montreal
I
looks
mean
really solid.
that's a really good team. I love the energy in that arena. They deserve to be in the playoffs. They've looked like a legit contending team to do well this year. And look at the Metro. Uh, the Rangers obviously are the disappointment there for me because they've got all that talent there, but I'm at the same time not surprised because they're playing system hockey like we were with Mike Sullivan. The
Yeah.
exact same thing. They're playing the exact same system and it's not working. New Jersey being 5-1-0, not really a surprise, but I'm very excited for them because they've got a good team. They got kind of screwed last year with Jack Hughes getting hurt when he did to miss the rest of the season. Markstrom
Mhm.
was out for a while, and now he's hurt again. But nonetheless, they've looked really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have to give my flowers to Washington because they have looked, other than the Vancouver game, even that game they came back almost and tied it. But they've looked really good. They're spreading the wealth around the goaltending tandem there with Thompson and Chucky, or Charlie Lindgren has looked really solid. It's
Mhm.
such a unique challenge to have to play against goalies that catch with their right glove and both of them catch with their right glove. That's a very different game. But they're able to keep the puck out of the net, and they really don't have to score that much, but they've got the ability to. Wilson's got a few 4 or 5 goals this year already.
Yeah.
Alexei Protas too. I think he's leading the league in or leading the division, one of the two in 5-on-5 points. I think with 8 or 9. So yeah, they
Mhm.
look like
Yeah.
we knew they were going to be a playoff team, but they look good nonetheless.
Yeah. So
The
like,
Central, Utah's my surprise, but not really my surprise, but the one I'm most happy about because they went out and kind of went bold in the offseason. They got a lot of guys in free agency. They got Paterka, which was a big fish from Buffalo in a trade. They look really good. The goaltending looks great. The fan engagement there is unbelievable. That arena seems like it'll be a good place for playoff
Mhm.
hockey. Very, very unorthodox too to have an owner there who really cares about that team. He goes to all the games. You see him on the cameras. He's getting interviewed. He's on the glass. I love that for them. They deserve it, especially for all the fans who went over from Arizona to be fans of Utah. They deserve that after all that. They have a legit hockey team and one that's going to be around the playoff picture for quite a while if they keep this group together.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I could say the same thing with Dallas. They don't look the same. I mean, they don't look like the Dallas Stars, but I know they can come back. Nashville, I'm not really surprised with that.
Mhm.
Minnesota, I'm iffy about them. I mean, they don't really have what it takes, I think, to win the cup. But I mean, they're always kind of hanging around that playoff spot to get in there. Finally, the Pacific. I guess I'll go with Seattle as or Anaheim as my good team, like where they're at. I'm very happy
Mhm.
with how that team looks. They've got that young group that they've been able to solidify around with Chris Kreider coming in there. Obviously, goaltending, Dostal's an unbelievable goalie. They just have a really good chemistry. They look like a fun team. They look like they're having fun. They're playing for each other. I could see them contending for possibly a wild card, but if not, they're definitely going to be a team that's going to be in there for the next many years. They they've done it the right way. It's been a painful few years there, but they finally got the light at the end of the tunnel. I think they did the right thing getting Trevor Zegras out of there because I truly think he just didn't have the personality to be on the Anaheim team. Whatever
No.
they got there right now is working. And finally, disappointing. I I mean, San Jose, they've lost some games they shouldn't have at the beginning, but Calgary being 1-6-0, that's not good at all. It's not
No.
acceptable at all.
No.
But lots of time left. But at the same time, every game or every week that goes by, you're farther behind. And I mean, Calgary pretty much has to find like a 5 game winning streak here soon to get back in this thing. Because
Yeah.
to be 5 games, especially when you look at the tiebreakers and such, the tiebreaker main one is regulation wins. You're not winning games at all, but
Mhm.
especially in regulation, you got to be winning hockey games.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's 7 games in for just about every team. Every week we'll go over the standings like this and see where everything matches up. But some other quick NHL notes before we sign off for tonight. Brad Marchand returned to Boston last night for the first time. Got an amazing
Yeah.
standing ovation during his tribute video that they played. Brought him to tears. And you like this that the Boston fans
Yeah.
treated
Well,
him
he
kid like
deserves it.
he
He
was
deserves
their
it.
captain. He was the guy. He was, when you thought about the Boston Bruins, you thought about Brad Marchand. So it was nice to see the Boston fans really give him his due, and it was very emotional for him, as it is for any player who comes back to a team that he played most of his career with.
He
Um,
he deserves it, and he's become for me more likable just because of his presence, like on NHL and TNT and stuff. But
mhm.
he deserves it. I mean, he led that team. Um, I don't want to say they did him dirty last year because he won the cup after getting traded, but I don't think they sent him the right way. I mean, that was pretty
Yeah.
bad. But nonetheless, he deserves it. And I just have to speak on it real quick. That crazy goal to end that
Oh,
game last night. What
that was nuts. I don't know.
that's something that you could try a million times and it would never happen again. Verhage, after Boston had just tied it empty net or with the goalie pulled, Verhage shot one off the post, beat Swayman, hit the post, bounces out like a hard aggressive bounce off the foot of Andrew Peak, who's like feels like 10 feet from the goal and bounces right up and in. And it's like, what the
Just,
world? Like, that's
just
just a
crazy as
crazy. But I
goal.
mean, what a way to, I mean,
Mm,
beat your old team, but as well for the Bruins to be on 5 straight losses. We've
yeah.
already talked about this next one. The Rangers finally got a goal at home, but only one, and they got beat by the Wild 3-1. They had been shut out 3 times previous. Pittsburgh, Washington, and Edmonton had shut them out. And then finally they got one against Minnesota, but then got shut right out again the rest of the game. They play against San Jose tomorrow, which would be hilarious if they lost that game to give San Jose their first win. I agree with
Well,
what you put next on this
yeah.
prompter because now I
Red,
have access to it.
yeah,
The Wings.
Red Wings are the hottest team in the NHL as far as I'm concerned. I watched them play the other day against the Oilers, and they just look like a very cohesive team. They're going to make some noise
Hmm.
this year.
Well, they've been on the cusp of it for the past couple of years, and they've just blown it a little bit. But they've got a team to do it, and they finally got that John Gibson there, which can make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for that fan base if they do well because the Wings have pretty much since they won the cup in '08 have struggled for a
Mhm.
while. They have been struggling.
Yeah. And then just a little side note, the Toronto Blue Jays won the American League Championship pennant the other day. They're going to their first World Series in 32 years. It was back when
'93.
when I was in Canada, and of course, everybody in the country is a Toronto Blue Jays fan. I still am a Blue Jays fan, even though I'm a Diamondbacks fan. It's nice to see the Blue Jays back in the World Series, but they went to the Maple Leafs game, and it's kind of funny because you see the highlight, the Toronto Blue Jays show up at for the Maple Leafs, and it's like, yeah, it's probably because they wanted to show the Maple Leafs this is how you win. This is
Yeah,
how
and then
you
the
win
Leafs
titles,
lost last
and
night.
then they lost to
So
yeah. So
would have been one thing I have to mention would have been funny, but when before Game 7, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. showed up to the game at they call the Sky Dome, but Rogers Center in an Austin Matthews jersey,
yeah.
and that would have just been awful if the Jays would have lost because you
Oh.
go in wearing that jersey. But
Mhm.
then I was watching a video today on YouTube. There's this guy on YouTube. You might have to check him out. He's a big time Leafs fan. Steve Dangles is the name of his show. That's his podcast or his YouTube channel name. And he freaks out like every time the Leafs lose. It's pretty funny, but it's also like he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But he had mentioned something in that video I watched because he was talking about the game last night that they lost to the Devils. So Guerrero shows up to Game 7 wearing the Matthews jersey, but leads his team to victory. Matthews shows up the next day in a Guerrero jersey to the Leafs game and plays like shit. Sorry, but he played horrible.
Yeah.
He played like one of the worst games in his career. So I've already talked about it. He's not a captain.
No.
He's a skilled player, but he's not a captain. He doesn't lead that team. But how crazy is that? That you have to be shown how to win. I mean, the Jays aren't favored in this series at all because the Dodgers are the Dodgers, but they have at least given some relief to the city of Toronto to see some success from their sports teams because they're not getting it from the Leafs anytime soon.
There's
And
excitement in Toronto.
Even Craig Berube had said today that he's tired of that first line not generating anything, which is Matthews' line, that they're not generating anything in the game.
Yeah. So we're cheering for the Blue Jays. Well, I'm cheering for the Blue Jays.
I am too. I can't stand. I mean,
I don't like the
it's
Dodgers.
just crazy
because
how
they're in
much
the
money
division
can be
that
put,
the
how much
Diamondbacks
money
are
there
in.
are in these sports. But like, the Dodgers, all their payrolls got to be insane.
It's like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Lakers.
Yeah, they bought their way to
they bought their way
championship.
there to championship. So let's go Blue Jays. Let's get the third World Series and bring it back to Canada. Well, that's gonna about wrap it up for tonight, and a historic night for the Best Boys Center Ice podcast, as we were live on YouTube for the first time, and also on Carson's Twitch page, and of course Facebook Live.
Y'all should have seen before we came on how much Dad was struggling with his camera. He couldn't get it to work.
Oh, I couldn't get the camera to work, and my fiance Beth had to actually, who's the technical one of the family, she had to figure it out that we could actually go on the laptop and do the camera.
Yes, Dad, you have to hit the power button to turn the laptop on.
Yes, I know you got to hit the power button to turn the laptop on. So you're lucky I didn't put my catchphrase in the teleprompter. You probably would have erased it.
You're going to say it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So the show, the podcast will be up. It's going to be up as soon as we end the stream. It's going to be up on our YouTube page, and also you can revisit it on Facebook Live. And I'll continue to do the Oiler updates on TikTok.
You didn't do your little freak out episodes over the Islanders games or anything. I didn't do those.
Yeah, I was not feeling very good after, not because of the games.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, so well, don't worry. It's got a long season. There'll be lots of rants, believe me, and it's usually going to be against Evan Bouchard or Stu Skinner. So
probably
don't worry, there'll be some coming. No worries about that.
Right.
We'll be back next week. We're planning on hopefully Monday night next week, depending on how things go. I'm coming back from Oklahoma on Sunday, so we'll of course just keep your eyes on Facebook, and you'll know when the Best Boys Center Ice podcast will come up next. So again, Carson, thanks. Great stuff with the graphics. We're going to include that every week. Or just update standings. The standings may not move around, but
we'll update them.
Eventually, as we go along in the season, they will move around. So thanks a lot for that. Thanks to Shemaya Reed and the Refocus Radio Network, which you can hear our podcast on from our YouTube channel as well. And so in the meantime, and in between time, Carson's favorite time of the show, everybody have a great hockey night.